So if you need to work in any group places or you want to play it solo, they are the perfect place to study in peace. My favourite has to be on the top floor of the ATB building because not everyone's bold enough to brave going up the stairs, so it's normally quite quiet compared to some of the other places.
Blackboard is the university's virtual learning environment, providing an online space for staff and students to interact. It's designed to provide a dedicated site for every module taught at the university. Make sure you check Blackboard regularly for staff announcements, key dates, module information and reference guides. I find Blackboard useful because there are lots of resources on there for each module. So if you need to look at the PowerPoints from a lecture that was about a month ago, they'll be on Blackboard. And if they're not, reach out to your tutor and they'll be able to put them on there.
Teamwork or collaborative group projects are a key part of the student experience and of assessments. They usually require you to work with other students from your course or other subject areas as well. And to help with this, there are many bookable spaces in the library or across campus. For me personally, I like to work at Minerva building because of the open space concept in the building, and also there's food you can go get there, so I like to eat and do my work.
Now, don't leave your work to last minute. I feel like every single student does this at one point. I used to do it all the time my first year, and to avoid this I like to make like an actual schedule, like a timeline of exactly what I need to get done by what point so I don't end up leaving it to last minute.
Lincoln is full of green spaces where you can go and get yourself some fresh air in between studying. It's always good to give yourself a break as it can help you re-energize. My favorite place in Lincoln is the West Commons where I can see horses and it's very big. It's huge space, you can get lots of air there.
There are plenty of spaces to eat on campus. Like seriously, we are so spoilt for choice. My favourite has to be the Pier Cafe in the Minerva building because they do that really cool hot chocolate latte art that makes me feel so fancy when I'm dining there.
The university library is called the Great Central Warehouse Library, which gives access to journals, books, electronic books, specialist collections and databases. The library is open 24/7 for the majority of the academic year.
Whilst studying is super important, having a good work-life balance is great. There's plenty of societies to join that are fun and mean that you can meet new people. I personally have plenty of hobbies, a few too many. I love to game, crochet, colour, and amongst many other things. I also will be joining a society this year, Musical Theatre Society. It's fun because the community is really sweet and I get to spend time with not just my friends, but some new people as well. There's not just that society, but plenty of other societies that you can check out on our student union website, as well as sports societies that you can join for recreational, but also in competitional.
The university provides free unlimited Wi-Fi across campus and in uni-managed student accommodation. You will want to connect to the EduRoam network, and you can find this information on the ICT website, which has all the links you need to connect.
By studying hard and making the most of the resources that the university has to offer, you will be one step closer to getting that dream job. Not only is my course helping prepare me for my future career, it's also giving me transferable skills from my time at university studying. For example, time management. Studying at university gives you the skills to take forward into your career.
There are maps across campus to show you where all the university buildings are. You can also find a digital copy at lincoln.ac.uk/campusmap. If you ever find yourself a bit lost, just don't be afraid to ask anyone. Everyone's super helpful and super friendly. They wouldn't mind just showing you where to go. I asked people even when I was in my second year and I still didn't know where to go at that point. So honestly, don't be scared to ask anyone. Anyone's happy to help you.
Lectures are more formal information sessions that usually last about 50 minutes. They usually take place in one of your lecture theatres. However, due to the coronavirus pandemic, some of your lectures may still be online. I love lectures, and one of the things I love about especially in-person lectures is that I can ask questions to the lecturer when I don't understand a topic, rather than coming home and not understanding what's going on. Also, I can talk with some of my friends and make new friends in my lecture that when we have like team projects, or I just need help with an assignment or just understanding a topic, I can talk to them about it. So lectures are really handy, and in my course, if you have a long lecture, you normally get a break in between that you can just go grab a cup of water, a cup of coffee, even a small snack if that's what you're fancying. And it's great.
Minerva actually means goddess of wisdom, which is so fitting. It is a great central place on the university campus with a learning lounge, seminar spaces, lecture theatres, and even food. 2 places for food. What more could you possibly want?
There are going to be loads of social opportunities when you're at university, which is fantastic. But it's really important to be able to say no sometimes, especially around exam season, when a night out might not be the best thing for your sleep schedule. And I'm not just talking about studying instead of going out. Even if you're feeling a little bit run down, it's best to take a break and have a proper night's sleep rather than go on a night out and spend the next day struggling through lectures because you're too tired.
One of the key platforms for online learning is Blackboard Collaborate Ultra. This is where your live lectures will be delivered, and you can also communicate with your peers like your course mates, your tutors, or even your module leads.
Now, Student Life has their own podcast called Fresher Take. It is created by students for students, where you can join the podcast hosts every month to discuss different concerns about university and starting. From homesickness to handling stress, they chat about their experiences and offer advice and tips on how to adjust to living at university, which can really benefit your studying too. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Buzzshout. I actually quite often listen to the podcast. It felt quite friendly, and it always felt like you were part of the conversation. And actually, once I was part of the conversation, so I have been on the podcast before, and it was a really fun experience.
The top floor of the library is a quiet floor where if you like to study in silence, that is the place for you. I personally don't study there, but a lot of my friends find it very useful. Or when I am studying on other floors of the library and I want a bit of quiet for the time, I normally put earphones in and put on some lo-fi beats or some Animal Crossing background music, or even just generalized pop music, just to keep me focused on what I'm doing rather than getting distracted by people walking past me, people having conversations. But sometimes if a friend is over and we're just chatting, it can also help with my studying as well. So quiet is good most of the time. Sometimes a little bit of chatter doesn't hurt.
The Resources Hub on the Learning at Lincoln page explains some of the digital tools that you'll be able to use while at university. These include Blackboard and Blackboard Collaborate, LinkedIn Learning, which is full of training courses, Microsoft Teams for communicating with course mates, Panopto for recording and accessing videos, Poll Everywhere for responding to questionnaires from your tutors or creating your own, and Turnitin, which you will likely use to submit your written assessments. My favourite is Microsoft Teams, because within my course, we often get split into different groups, so it's useful to have a central hub where you can communicate with your course mates.
They are a really useful part of your uni life. They encourage discussion, and if you have any questions that you didn't quite understand in the lecture, that is your perfect place to bring them up. They help encourage learning and understanding, and is a great place for student contribution. As a film student, we'd sometimes use our seminars to discuss films that we'd seen, which is so amazing for me because I love talking about films. I remember at first being a little bit worried to speak up. I wasn't too sure. I'd never been in a seminar before, so I wasn't sure what they expected of me. But as soon as I realised everyone was in the same boat, it made me feel so much easier. So just don't be afraid to put your hand up and share your thoughts. There's probably no wrong answer, which is always good, because who wants to be wrong?
A nice cuppa goes down a treat, especially when it's at the University of Lincoln. So there's multiple places across campus where you can sit down and have a nice cuppa, or any kind of drink really. My favourite place personally is actually the teepee. I like to go there and get a hot chocolate and maybe a s'more and kind of de-stress from the day. It's nice and cosy in there, and I go with my friends quite often. What I found the hardest when I came to university was that all the work that you do at university, you do in your own time. Where when I was at school, I kind of did it all in my school time. And when I was at college, I would stay at college all day. So what I found helpful when I was at university was kind of making my 9 to 5 day still, that is my university work, so I can have my weekends off and have my alone time. So it's that balance of making that I want my alone time, I want my friend time and my university time, and it's that sort of balance that you have to make. This is a level up from college, but learning.lincoln.ac.uk is here to help you.
As someone who is part of student life, I might be a little bit biased when I say we probably have the best YouTube account for students. Study tips, challenges, campus tours, any worries you have as a student, we've probably covered it in one of our YouTube videos. Not to brag or anything, but I also have a YouTube video out there. It's about being LGBT in Lincoln, which is something I know a lot about as a gay person. So be sure to check that out, as well as the numerous vlogs and videos that we have on there. And check out all our other social media while you're at it.
You may be looking for a part-time job while you're studying at Lincoln. It's really important that you strike a good balance between your work and study and your social life. Make sure to get that in. But when you're trying to find a job, you need to make sure that you find a job that is flexible work hours, because you don't want to have your work take over priority from your university work, because after all, you have come here for university. If you're having problems about getting a job, the Careers and Employability team are here to help you. The Careers and Employability team are made up of qualified professional staff that are also very friendly and approachable, with a number of years' experience in higher education. Whilst I was at university, I did get a job, and I had a job for the whole of my 3 years. So I actually worked part-time with Student Life, and Student Life gave me very flexible work hours. So if 1 week I had not a lot of uni work to do, I got more hours, where if 1 week I had an abundance of work to do and I couldn't really work all that much, they were absolutely fine with it. And you just need to make sure you find that flexible job. You don't want a job that are wanting you to work every single day of the week, because you just don't have time for that when you're at university. If you do get a job, don't feel afraid to ask for some time off to do some work. Again, as I said, my job was pretty flexible, but I do know some friends that were always a bit nervous to say to their work that you have a lot of uni work. Just tell them in advance. If you've got a deadline on a certain day, just tell them that week you want that booked off. So then you have that time to study. And most jobs around Lincoln, since they know that we're a university city, most of them will be quite accommodating to that.
There are plenty of extracurricular activities available for you on campus, such as joining Student Life. Student Life is always looking for new content creators, so join us. I love Student Life because there's so many nice people that I get to make content with on a monthly basis, as well as I get to share my experiences as a uni student with others, whether they're freshers or just coming in for a master's or an international student. Getting to know the town can be a bit difficult, but together we can, make it a lot more enjoyable.
Being a student can be hard work at times. It can feel like there are a lot of different priorities for you to juggle, such as your academic work, your social life, jobs, chores, so much more. So it's important that you are looking after yourself. I'm looking after my well-being by sitting in my pyjamas at 3 o'clock on a Friday, drinking a cup of hot chocolate. There's nothing in there. Make sure you look after your health and well-being, and don't be afraid to reach out if you're struggling.